let's dive in. So season 2, wheels and wheels, guys. Like, we're seeing like new aliens, we're seeing conspiracies, we're seeing Linda Hamilton on the warpath. Like, how is it, like, what was it about kind of creating these new levels of intricacies and kind of like really testing the characters in these ways as you kind of pick things up for season 2?
Yeah, it's a hard, doing these shows is harder and harder these days, with 550 scripted television shows on the air, whatever it is. Like, you can't be dull. The second you're dull, so they just change the channel and watch something else. So you have, concepts in your mind of things you want to do down the line. And when you're in the writer's room and you're breaking stories, and if you get into a place where it feels like it's not that exciting, you start stealing from ideas you have from later. There's another alien race here now. That was something that I didn't want to even get into till maybe season 3 or 4, but the timing seemed right. And so you move it up because it's interesting, and, you have to believe that you'll always find story to fill in the gaps later. Who knows if that's true, but most importantly is that whatever this episode is right now that you're working on has to be good, has to be exciting, because treading water is death these days. Sometimes you can't help it. Even us, there are some episodes I feel like we're treading water a little bit just to tell the story, but for the most part, you got to keep driving forward or you lose your audience. I think you want it to be a ride. It's a fun. You want people to tune in because something's going to happen. I appreciate a good slow burn show, but I don't think this is that.
Well, in terms of like making sure like stuff happen, Alan, we're seeing Harry experience like emotion for the first time in ways that he's never experienced before. We see him scared, we see him angry, we see him jealous, but there's still that like degree of separation between like true humanity and like his extraterrestrial background. How is it exploring the lens of emotion with that in mind?
Luckily, it's in the script, so it happens. It happens within a scene that has its own parameters that are set. So, so far they've come in a rush. Although it's creeping, it's becoming, sort of an overall, he's just becoming more human. He's becoming, especially by the end of the season, better at communicating. I don't think he'll ever be as great at communication as a normal human. I don't think that would be fun to watch, but he's just overall becoming, he's starting to have a emotional palate that, we have emotion as in everything that we have,
Yeah.
So it's fun. I'm enjoying it. There's a whole world that's opening up to Harry with emotion.
Well, in talking about that world, how is it taking the story to New York City in the first half of season 2?
Oh, that was great. I really enjoyed that. I like how it turned out. It was, to be thrust into a big city. Anybody who's coming from a small town, whether Colorado or wherever, United States or wherever, and going into a big city, you're assaulted. Your senses are assaulted. And for him, it was really fun to put myself inside his skin for that. All those people around and just the madness, and then not to mention the drugs.
Yeah.
Then add on top of that another obstacle of here's some hallucinogenic acid, and then he's wandering through the city. There was so much of that was really fun, and in the sort of the capery feel of finding the clues and hunting down Goliath, and then finding the egg, and there was the train ride. It was just there's 2 episodes worth of New York. That was a really fun. The writing was fantastic. Just a lot of fun.
Chris, in terms of like the DNA of the show, if season 1's the murder mystery, like season 2 is like the conspiracy. Like, how close to the heart of Resident Alien is a mystery story, like in that kind of narrative?
I think it is such a big part of the show. I mean, the first season was about who killed Sam Hodges, and second season is ultimately about why, like what was behind it. But because the first 2 seasons do have a bit of a murder mystery in them, I feel like you run the risk of it potentially not feeling like the same show if we didn't continue doing that. So I will say that there is, in season 3, there is a bit of another murder mystery in its own way happening. which is a new one. By the end of season 2, the Sam Hodges story will be wrapped up. But going into season 3, there's going to be some characters trying to solve some crimes. But that's for sure.
Yeah. Give me that 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, but with
yes, exactly.
Yeah, complete with Vincent Price. Let's do it. But some of my favorite stuff in really of yours, Alan, is your scenes with Sarah. I mean, you still bring the comedy, but there's a level of vulnerability that both of you show, especially when we're kind of dealing with the immediate fallout in the second half of season 2. Like, how has your rapport with Sarah kind of developed over the course of the show?
They've gone through a lot together. She is his number one confidant. And I think by the time it's great, have you seen the whole season or just not the last episode?
The first
just
chunk
the first 3.
First 3,
yeah. Right. So in those first 3, she does get sick of Harry and just wants to get some space like we do with friends. And hopefully, if they are truly friends, you end up making up and you get closer. That's part of the process of becoming closer friends. And you can't, when we're on set and stuff, that we go through these things emotionally. And even though we are putting on the hat of a different person, a different character, when you do that, you get closer through those experiences. And it's she is the number one actor that I work with. So it's just grown. It's grown. It's become so much farther than just the annoying woman from the clinic. It started out the woman in the clinic who smelled like death.
Right.
Why do you smell like death? You smell like a dead man. And I think by the end of that third episode in this season, there's a more trust and more understanding between the two of them moving forward.
Chris, how is it leaning into your ensemble in season 2? I was talking to Levi earlier, and he was saying a lot of the sex stuff at the start of season 2, he felt just kind of seeing what you could put him through. So how is it leaning into your ensemble's like comedic ability?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big part of the show. I from the beginning, I didn't want to put all the pressure on the alien. It just has to feel like a full world. And as an audience, a big key to the show is having the audience fall in love with not just the alien, but in all these characters, and root for them and want to be part of their world, and and want to be part of the town they live in, and so much of that is casting really great actors, and this ensemble is amazing. And they have incredible chemistry together, and they are really talented. They're really funny, but they all are really grounded, and they are really great actors, and they can play really serious stuff. And every single one of them has had to play serious stuff and will in this second half of the season as well. So yeah, they're all really fun to watch and really fun to write for.
Well, that is my time. Guys, thanks for sitting down with me.
Thank you, Sam.
No problem at all. Resident Alien's back for the rest of season 2, August 10th on Sci-Fi, and keep an eye out for season 3. This is Sam Stone, CBR.com, signing off.